Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on Fantasy Football Scout. As usual today I'm joined by Gianni and we've got a bit of a special one this time. Game Week 8 wildcard is indeed active, Gianni, and you're just off the back of a wildcard 7. So, Gianni, how are we keeping?
Yeah, man, I'm good. It was a really cool game week. It was a high scoring one. The average is up. There was a lot of returns. There was DEFCON points flying around, but there was also clean sheet points flying around from like good defenses. And it was nice to go back to, Arsenal and Newcastle defenders who are like, yeah, you don't need to worry too much about DEFCON. They're just going to get you 6 pointers. And then obviously like Manoz getting a goal. So that's good. I think we need that. I think we need fullbacks getting goals and assists. And, Porro got the assist. So yeah, my wild card went well. I'm on a green arrow. It's two decent greens in the last 2 weeks from triple captain and then wild card. We're just watching as Man City are about to beat Brentford 1-0, and I benched Reinders, so I was really worried about watching that. I did realise his ownership is super high. How are you though, mate? How's your game week going? Obviously, you were dead ending, so you were all about the short term punt going into game week 8, right?
Yeah, do let us know, lads, how the audio is. Again, we had issues last week, and I do apologise. Me and Jani's are supposed to be seasoned veterans by now, but we aren't quite there yet, and we are still making every stream better for you guys. And I am getting a new laptop tomorrow, and hopefully that fixes any issues that we do currently run into. How am I getting on? I'm brilliant. Red arrow for me this week, a fat one too. But to be honest, I'm happy with my decision making, Gianni. Before going into the
Yeah.
game week, I said, regardless of the outcome, I'm happy with how I've played this half of the season before I hit the wildcard. Again,
Yeah.
splitting the season in two halves, first 8 and then the next 9 or 10. Um, or 11, sorry. But happy overall with where I currently am. I think, especially when you compare it to the current landscape with wildcard active, I'm happy. So, overall, even though I've got a fat red, I'm not all about the outcome, fortunately. And even if I was doing really poorly rank wise, I'd be quite happy with my decision making so far. So, my decision this game week was to bring out Cody Gakpo for Mateus Cunha. And I think that tells you everything about my game week. Of course, Cody Gakpo coming up with the goal, and Mateus Cunha getting the bench. Now, I really wanted to attack the game week, as you know, I did dead end into my team. And let me quickly pull it up for you and read out from my goalkeeper to the forwards.
Nice.
So in front of you, I'm ending the game week. Is that City game over, Gianni? I'm currently on
Yeah,
54
it's over.
points.
It's over. I think Haaland's on. I think he was on 2 bonus. I don't know if that's stuck, but yeah, it's over.
Okay, so let's run
I'm,
through the team for anyone who's listening on audio. On goal, we've got Robert Sanchez, who picked up 2 points. Three at the back in Matty Cash, Pedro Porro, and Nico Williams. 2, 7, and 0. 5 in midfield, Mateus Cunha, Phil Foden, Mohamed Kudus, Brian Mbuemo, and Bruno Fernandes. 1, 3, 12, 6, and 3. And then 2 up top in Erling Haaland and Watkins blanking. So small-ish red from 100k to 300k. I don't know if that's small or large at this point of the season. But again, disappointed to be honest when I consider the fixtures. When I looked at my team dead ending into this game week, I had Triple United versus Sunderland, who played quite well. It's just Kuna didn't play. I of course had Ollie Watkins and Matty Cash, who both blanked in a Burnley fixture where Villa played quite decent. Malin came up with the goals, and I thought Villa were much better this week with Boubacar Kamara back in the team, and Bogard in the team also. What went wrong for me in comparison to what went right before we speak about what went good? I suppose it is the triple up on the United boys. Kuna getting the bench and not ideal. The other option I was looking at was Arabesh Eze, who of course blanked also. So not much in it, to be honest. Brian Mbuemo, who got a lucky enough assist with a brilliant Mason Mount finish, and Fernandez, who could have scored if buts and maybes with his maybe 11 DEFCON, maybe 9 DEFCON on the shore. Johnny, what do you make of the team before I continue to babble on?
Yeah, no, I mean it was a good team on paper. You were eggs in baskets there with Man United, but you knew that. And to be fair, you called the game. Like United were quite dominant actually, and really outplayed Sunderland and were the better team and were good value for their 2 goal win. You knew it was risky going without Arsenal. And obviously, if you're on wildcard, you may have had a Newcastle player or two as well. And these are teams that are right at the top of the expected goals conceded list. Like they're the best defenses. So you're obviously a bit short. But then Porro goes and gets you an assist and DEFCON, and it's a really good start to the game week. Obviously, you were let down by Aston Villa. You expected a clean sheet from Cash, and you probably expected a goal or two from Watkins. So that was disappointing. But then, swings and roundabouts like Kudus, 12 points, like a great pick. Clearly, the Spurs attacker to go for. You and I have said this for a long time.
Yeah, just after adjusting Gianni's volume there, guys, let me know if that is a small bit better. Some people saying a small bit low. Again, I'll try improve it as we go. But yeah, I agree. Antoine Semenyo, the big miss in my own team. Unfortunately enough, Kudus came in clutch. Again, without Kudus, I think I would have been absolutely obliterated this game week. And
Wow. It
Ghanaian
was one
versus
Ghanaian for another, mate. You didn't have
exactly.
Semenyo, but you had Kudus, which kind of made up for it, almost.
Yeah, 6.5 versus almost 8 million now. So
Fair.
if you look at it that way, where it doesn't go my way is he's also the same price as Mateus Cunha and Brian Mbuemo and Bruno Fernandes. But let's say, yeah, the same as Kudus. Just on Mohamed Kudus and Spurs in general. As you know, I am a Spurs fan, so I always like to get my Spurs little touch on these podcasts. Where are you at, first off, Gianni, with Tottenham? I'm interested because I always listen to what other people are saying, and I seem to have a different opinion.
My opinion since the first game or two, I like to analyze my XG charts, right? And I spot this every single week with Spurs. You don't concede much, you don't score many. It's a little bit, you actually conceded 2 XG this week against Leeds, and only Leeds were actually quite strong. But I feel like Spurs aren't going to go and set the world alight in terms of goals, and that's our currency in FPL. However, I think you're creating in Kudus potentially a talisman. We haven't got there yet with Kudus, but everything I see in terms of Frank's resilience to keep playing him, often the 90s, the set pieces, the advanced average position, always the outlet for Spurs. I like him really much as a pick. I really, really do. However, I don't love the idea of backing lots of other Spurs players. You'll keep some clean sheets. I think Romero's a good pick. Van der Ven doesn't get DEFCON. Porro's fine, maybe a bit expensive. But there is one shining light there, and it is the guy that's just hit 12 points this week.
Yeah, I love that, and surprisingly enough, you're on similar lines as myself. So for me, Thomas Frank, I feel like people are forgetting. It's his first season at Tottenham. One
Yeah.
loss in the opening run so far in the league. I mean, sure, the results have been grinded out, but he's turning Tottenham from what was a leaky team, the Spursy title, into a team that are the only team not to concede in the last 15 minutes, I believe. So
Wow.
it's something like that. I don't know if it's from leading positions, but it is something along those lines.
Yeah.
So for me, Spurs have looked good. And like you said, we don't exactly have a talisman, but Kudus is slowly becoming that asset, and he is playing in some form. I keep saying it every single week. I'm off my seat watching Kudus. He picks up the ball and runs at his man like a typical Joga Bonito player. So really, really exciting stuff with Mohamed Kudus. And just like you said on Kudus, for me, where I stand with him is he is 6.5 million. Me and you spoke about this quite a lot at the start of the season.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? You and I were both so hot on the value. We couldn't believe he'd come in at 6.5. I play Fan Team, another FPL game or fantasy football game, which is really similar to FPL. And the prices of players are almost bang on. Like the vast majority of players are the same. They use similar algorithms. I think they had Kudus at 7.5. It was one of the biggest differences in the entire game. And I think we all would have probably gone 7.5. FPL just went, I think they worried about his minutes, but clearly that's not a thing.
Exactly, yeah. And at this point in the season, what are we, 7 games now? I feel like he's still really good value, and I don't feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people are talking about him. And the way I look at it, and this is the lens I look at this when I'm looking at Mohamed Kudus. If we had a winger for any of the top 6 who are 6.5 and they're guaranteed 90 minutes in United City, Chelsea, of course, Liverpool, and Arsenal, you would have him in your team. And Mohamed Kudus, again, Spurs aren't quite ticking from an attacking point of view yet. But if you were Thomas Frank and you were to hang your hat on a Spurs attacker, and you're looking at our front four, and you're going, who can I rely on, and what am I going to do to change this for Spurs? I'm looking
Yeah.
exactly right at Mohamed Kudus, and I'm going, I need to make him Brian Mbeumo, and we know that Frank is probably looking to do this with Kudus. He just can't instill it yet on the current team, especially with Kulusevski, Madison, and Solanke still out. We're still missing a few for Spurs. So that's my piece on Tottenham. Again, not exactly bullish necessarily. I just think he is definitely good value and needs to be spoken about a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot on wildcard this week. I think there's going to be a lot going Kudus. I was on wildcard last week and he didn't make it in. I thought about him. I wouldn't say I was close though. I was comparing him with Ismail Assar, and I went with Sarr probably because of what I'd seen from the Palace attack versus what I'd seen from the Spurs attack. But actually, now you'd probably find a way to get both in. I mean, Sarr still looks like a really good pick, but Kudus does too. And the Spurs fixtures are perfectly fine. Um, yeah, also, by the way, not that it matters because we're going to get 5 transfers, but it's worth noting for Semenyo owners and Kudus owners, Ghana somehow aren't going to AFCON. So Spurs won't lose him, as some might expect.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because if you can hold on to an extra player who you would expect to probably go away, it's going to be handy, of course. But yeah, I feel like he's one. Like I'm on wildcard this week, and we are going to make a wildcard draft together, Gianni, on stream this
Love
time.
that.
Yes, so it'll be fun, and I'm not going to display my current wildcard because I have made a video on this, and I'm intrigued to see what people think before I actually release it on stream. We'll talk again next Sunday because it'll be mid international break if we do make a video. And by the way, just one more thing to note before I forget: congratulations to Fancy Football Scout who have hit 100k subscribers, and again, privilege for us to be part of it. We absolutely love doing these videos, lads, and we cannot thank you enough for joining us. So do hit the buttons.
Oh, Chai, my first video on Scout, I think we had, I mean, I'm going back like 7 years or maybe even more, but I'm pretty sure we had like 30k, 35k. So it's been amazing. Like, thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed, and it was awesome that they hit their 100k when Az and Sam were streaming last week. Az, of course, was the video manager for Scout only a couple of years ago. So pretty cool that yeah, those guys were able to be part of it.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be me and you, the two. Well, for me, I'm an absolute rookie. I'm still new to the game, and I'm taking the weeks as they come. We're still having audio issues. Imagine mid 100k, our audio starting to go. That'd be brilliant. But anyway, yeah, very convenient that it was for Sam and as very happy for him, of course. And more to come from Scout, so stay tuned, lads. So, quickly going back to the team, I know a lot of people have questions about my own team. Again, it was underwhelming this week, and I feel like the result could have easily been different again, if buts and maybes. But I feel like my decision making to go risky, bring in Triple United in a week where no one believed in them, I liked it, and it made the week fun, even though it didn't turn out my way. So, let's move on from my game week 7 team. And let's take a look at a potential wildcard that Gianni and I are going to put together. Because our thought process is going to change as the weeks go on. It's going to be interesting how it changes. Let me quickly... So, I have hit the button, right? But I've brought in a load of players for the price rises, if anyone is wondering.
Of course. And you'll get some as well, won't you? Because of the international break, you're going to get loads. I annoyingly wildcarded in a week where there was barely any price rises. I think I got Nick Pope had a price rise who I bought in. That was it. Like literally, it was rubbish. But team value, whatever. Yelena makes a good point. Also, vote for Scout in the FCAs using the links in the description.
There you go. Absolutely. So do hit the buttons for us, lads, as I click the buttons to take the players out of my team. So Gianni and I are going to run through from. I suppose we should start with the main decisions, whether or not you go Salah, Haaland, whatever. But we'll talk about that in just a second. First off, Gianni, do you think this is a good week to wildcard?
Oh, it's a great week to wildcard. Yeah, definitely. I was in game week 7 camp, but the plan was originally to see if I can hold out till 8. I'm so glad I went in game week 7 though, because it meant I brought in players like Semenyo, and Saka. And Gabriel, like I know Arsenal a bit like you, but you had a good game week 17 with Man United players that we're looking at now. You had Foden in place. I didn't, so I had to move my plan from game week 8 wildcard to game week 7, and I hope that sort of template, that model hasn't changed too much. I don't think it has. In terms of new information, I think we might be a bit cooler on Anthony Gordon this week, game week 8 than game week 7. We might be hotter on Saka, but I think a lot on 7 were hot on Saka, myself included. We might be cooler on a Salah Haaland double up, which is going to be your $1 million question here, Chai. Because when we spoke a week ago, you planned to wildcard Salah in, and you were going to try and make it work with a Haaland Salah double up. So before we even look at your drafts and stuff, and we build a team together, my big question to you is it going to be Haaland plus Salah or just Haaland?
Right, so this is my cue to give my piece on Mo Salah. So is it okay? Let me buckle up. Okay, so where I am with Mo Salah again, Gianni. I don't know about you. I feel like it's gone. It's a bit exaggerated how poor he's been. Don't get me wrong. He's not picked up the numbers he has in the last 6 years, and he's by no means even half the player he's been last season. But I personally still think a poor Mo Salah can get 20 goals and assists by the end of the season,
Oh
including
yeah.
AFCON. So if I'm thinking that, and I'm trying to future proof myself, especially considering we're using the wildcard early on, there are going to be that niche group of managers who have the opportunity to use it in 13, 14, 15, which is great, of course, for them. But I feel like if Mo Salah starts returning versus United, Brentford, or Villa, who he plays next, I believe it is, we're going to be scrambling in 12, 13, 14, where he plays West Ham, Leeds, Sunderland. So, for me, as bad as he's been, this is a nice 2 weeks for Liverpool to recoup and have a nice opening fixture with United at home, who've looked quite poor. So for me, he's in, and it's as easy as that. He's
Whoa.
in.
Wow. I'm okay, so you and I both like to be different, and we both wanted that Salah Haaland double up on wildcard. My plan was to try and make it work. I couldn't make it work if I wanted the likes of Saka and Semenyo. Like it was Saka and Semenyo or Salah and a waste man. Like there's a no, but maybe for you it'll be different. I was also trying to shoehorn obviously Haaland, but Gyökeres in, and maybe again we've seen enough now to go. Actually, we don't need Gyökeres. But I am surprised that you're already committed to that. You're. It sounds like you're 99% going to get Salah on wildcard, which I don't. I think it's. I don't think we've seen enough. You're right. We're maybe overplaying his dip, but at the same time, the numbers don't lie, and you and I love an eye test. And if we're watching the games, he is ghosting by them. He's not doing much, is he?
No, I agree completely. And I can't say you're making a bad point here. And just to correct you, as much as we do like to be different, I don't do it to try be different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just to know again, where my head is at now could completely change. It's 2 weeks, lads. It's a long time. I'm going to be overthinking for sure. Um, I agree. No, Salah's been really poor. The numbers don't lie. But at the same time, Haaland is not going to continue this amazing form as good as he's been. Salah is not going to continue this poor form as poor he's been. Again, they might necessarily meet in the middle, but if I can get to both in weeks where Salah has a good fixture, I still feel like, Salah's not suddenly lost his ability over a summer. Like, there's no way. And it's just Slot trying to figure out how we can get this Liverpool team back firing. For me, it's Liverpool's attack is still the best in the league. And if Salah's the only player who's going to be getting 90, he could be playing right back, and he's going to be somehow involved in the goals with how many chances Liverpool are going to create. We've not yet seen it again, but I just feel that's my current feeling. And at the start of the season, everyone had Salah, and it's not gone that way. We've all moved to Haaland. But as the weeks go on, lads, again, it's not necessarily the outcome. Things change. And over a 2 week international break, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity when he's about 20% owned to bring him in. And that's just me.
And that's why I wanted to make it work too. It was the opportunity of going, everyone's now sold him, and it's a way of backing against the template. And I think to do well in this game, at times you might want to take your chances in terms of backing against the template. There was one game, Chai, because we look at the FPL games and go, he's been rubbish. That Atletico Madrid game, which I think was between game weeks 2 and 3, he was amazing. And I was like, oh, Salah is back. Unfortunately, loads of FPL managers might not see it because they might not be paying too much attention to Liverpool in the Champions League. But then he went and slumped again. So yeah, let's see where we get on. If you want to know the data on Salah, guys, go check out the Scout members area. You can look at past seasons and compare him. I'm just worried about how that Liverpool team is clicking. But Chai, I guess we got to move forward with this wildcard team, have we?
Yeah, so let's go with the general public, shall we? If you want to see a Salah and Haaland draft, do of course check out my channel. For now, though, Erling Haaland is in our fancy football scout draft with Gianni and I.
Yeah.
Interesting then. So this gives us a lot of funds. Again, my team value is going to be slightly different to this, but take it with a grain of salt. I have 14.2, not to brag, with Erling Haaland. But moving on from Haaland, I suppose the next option for us is a Saka, Palmer, etc. Semenyo.
Yeah, let's get our Arsenal players in early, right? So I think Saka has become a like an obvious pick now. Um, Mate, what is Minter doing there? And Saar, you know I've got both them in my wild card, don't you?
Don't worry about that. No, they both got a price rise, so they're just in for now.
Yeah, okay, nice. I wildcarded them both in, which I thought was a bit punty. I could have just gone with one and then maybe someone a bit more boring, but I just fancied them both. But yeah, let's go Saka, mate. And let's do you want to just whack Gabriel in, because I don't think we need to discuss him, do we?
Yeah, let's stick in Gabriel, who is heading towards a price rise tonight, by the way, for anyone. Just a heads up if you're looking to get him in. He's going to be 6.3 if he does indeed rise tonight. Yeah, I feel like Gabriel is probably the only 90 every single week in this Arsenal defence. For me, I feel like the rest, not that they're at risk, but they're way more likely to get the odd miss of a game in comparison to Gabriel.
Yeah, we saw in the week both fullbacks rotated. Calafiori and Timber, though, are clearly first choice, but yeah, they'll see some rotation. And Calafiori, by the way, and Timber, to be fair, both do look awesome. But just go for Gabriel. Like it's gonna make watching Arsenal a lot easier. Okay, do we? Is Gyökeres a swerve now then, Chai? And are we looking at double Arsenal defence?
Yeah, so just before we continue, chat, do let us know what you guys think. We're more than happy to take suggestions. Again, let's build this team together. There are going to be a lot of different opinions, and you don't necessarily have to agree with them. The fact is that we can come to a mutual agreement for the time being and see what team we're going to come up with. So, just on Gyökeres and the Saka situation, Gianni. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be so sure on who's on penalties. I wouldn't take that as Saka's on penalties. But if I were to choose, in my opinion, I would say Saka's on penalties. And the reason for me is because he's going to want, with his injury, he wants to get back on form. And he knows that he is the main man in this Arsenal team. And I feel like him taking the pens is him solidifying his position. Yeah, I've been here before you, mate, and I'm on him. I think it's as easy as that for me.
He definitely had ownership of the situation yesterday. It's not to say he'll have ownership of the situation next time. If Gyökeres is flying and he wins the pen, I wouldn't be surprised if Saka stands by and lets Gyökeres take it. But I think we've seen it before with Odegaard and Saka. Like, the share at Arsenal is a thing, but one thing we know for sure is Gyökeres isn't absolutely nailed on pens, and some thought he was. So yeah, he's a swerve for me, and it makes Saka more attractive. So yeah, let's avoid Gyökeres. Do you still go double Arsenal defence? I don't think you put another Arsenal defender in because of the price and the opportunity cost against some DEFCON guys. But do you go Raya? And I guess the big question would be Raya, or I think the guy that I went with, who's quite a bit cheaper, Pope. But then you could still go Newcastle. You could go Dan Burn. But I mean, what's your take on goalkeepers? I mean, it's Dubravka plus Raya or Dubravka plus Pope, is it?
Yeah, my wildcard draft, I've got Verbergen and Dubravka. So we're definitely going to differentiate on some of these picks. And it's
Pope's
absolutely no
only
surprise.
5 million, right?
Yeah, so Verbergen's 4.4, Pope is
You
5.
needed that 0.6.
Yeah, exactly. So let's put
Yeah.
in Raya. I feel like Raya is, it is almost a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a wild card in game week 6, which so many did, I didn't see a wild card that didn't have Raya in goal in game week 6. So every six wild carder went Raya, and they've been rewarded.
Yeah, absolutely. So chat is saying Saka is clear of Gyökeres. Just on Gyökeres, if I had him, I would keep him for sure, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
But
I'm not selling him.
yeah, and I still think he's a great option. Like, by no means is he suddenly, because of penalties, poor. He's just not necessarily probably worth the 9 million if you are expecting penalties. You probably expect a player like him to come in at 8.58 for a non-penalty taker, but still definitely a great option. So let's stick in Dubravka as well. I feel like he is a no-brainer. And Gianni, the only other thing is, how much depth do we want in the bench?
Well, look, I feel like the majority still have bench boost to play, but it's very different wildcarding with bench boost in hand and wildcarding with not. I mean, I wildcarded with it having played my bench boost, so I didn't have to think about like, oh, what week will I do it and what fixture will Dubravka have that week? Like, it was nicer creating a wildcard team without thinking about bench boost. Just pick the 15 best players to suit your budget and your squad. But it's a big question mark. I think let's assume for this that we're going somewhere in between. Like, let's go fairly light on the bench, shall we? Like, at least one 4 million defender in the squad for sure. The chat say Saar is too good for his price. Off court, I agree with that, Jay. Like, we have to go Saar in this team, don't we?
All right, let's stick in Sar for now, and let's also put in a 4 million defender. For now, let's just say Esteve for the time being, playing Wolves in game week 9. Again, you could easily go to a Mukiele or
Rodon.
yeah, Rodon. I feel like they're the obvious ones, unless you're targeting a game week 10 bench boost. In that case, you go Alderete, who's 4.1 now. But yeah, two options now coming in at really fair price points, 6.4 for Sar. What's your take on Sar and Palace in general after a loss with Everton?
Easy pick. By the way, Saar got me an assist today and got 2 bonus. I think he was really close to DEFCON as well, randomly. But I know maybe it was 7 or 8. Anyway, he also put it on a plate for Mateta, who missed like a 0.75 XG chance. Saar nearly had a double-digit score today. And even in a game where Crystal Palace lost 2-1, there was 3 goals scored. Saar only got 1 assist. He still got 2 bonus points. Like, he is lively right now. He's pretty much playing in a front 2 with Mateta. Like, Saar's such an easy pick on what he's an easy lock on wildcard.
And you think that's where it differentiates from the wildcard 7ers? You don't have as much Palace, and same with the people who wildcard in 6. I feel like a lot of people are lacking a lot of Palace assets.
I don't know. I went in 7 and I still went double Palace, but the game week 6 guys didn't go Palace. They maybe went for Richards and that's it. Because Saar, we didn't even know if he was fit. So yeah, that's a big differential there for those who have gone 7 and 8. You have Saar. No one in 6 went Saar.
Interesting. So, okay, that's Sar and Esteve locked in. We have used half the budget on, 7 players. Where shall we go next? Let's go into the forward positions, Gianni. I feel like this is interesting. João Pedro, is he a no-brainer with Forest and Sunderland at home, or shall we be thinking other or elsewhere with a Caicedo or Enzo?
Oh, knowing we're not going Gyökeres, I would go João Pedro. But Mateta, Waltemada, similar price points, you could go there. I just think João Pedro for the fixtures you need, or you have to then commit to Enzo. You have to have one of those Chelsea attackers in Enzo or João Pedro, in my opinion. You could go both, but I'd go probably just, I'd be tempted to go both, but I'm a Chelsea fan. So for this draft, let's just do one. You pick, mate. João Pedro or Enzo?
Yeah, I feel like I would be going Pedro over Enzo. Saying that, though, I feel like Enzo is definitely a small bit underrated, especially with the fixtures. The one thing I haven't looked at with Enzo is how is his DEFCON, Gianni?
It's all, he rarely gets it. I think he's around 7/8 a lot. Yeah, you're not going to get too many DEFCON because when he's playing the number 10, you don't with him, and he's playing the 10 a lot. By the way, Palmer looks like he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, it's hard to know. We're in a spot now with the international break, talks of surgery, etc. Be nice to know a small bit more information on how long exactly. But for me, yeah, I feel like it is unlikely that we go with Palmer in these wildcard 8 drafts. And by the way, like off course said, do hit the like button, lads. We do appreciate you. Let's try to get to 150 minimum on this stream. Nick says, buy Bowen stocks while we're low. Gianni, he's one I've spoke about for the last 2 game weeks. He's done quite well in that time. Any hope of going Bowen over Pedro?
Not for me yet. Just because he's listed as a forward. If it was a mid, we'd be there. But I'm not quite there yet on Bowen. I did go for a West Ham defender because I do think they're going to be good under Nuno. But Nuno's a defence-first manager. Don't expect loads of goals. He'll sort the defence out before he sorts the attack out.
Love that. Let's go to the other end then. Speak to me about Ange Postecoglou's Forest. Any love for a 5.4 Anderson, who we know is a DEFCON monster?
I just couldn't touch Forest in any way, shape or form, I don't think.
That's fair, but do you not think, we know Ange wants to score goals. Elliot Anderson is going to play.
Will he be there though in game week 8?
Sorry, he might be.
Will he be there in game week 8?
Imagine. Yeah, you're
no,
right.
I hear you. For the 5.4 bracket, he's sensational. But I would probably go 4.9 Longstaff. Whoever it is going to sit on your bench a lot. And Longstaff looked really good yesterday, getting great for DEFCON, taking some of the set pieces at Leeds, scored a goal in game week 6. Like, probably go Longstaff, at 4.9, just to save the money.
That's fair.
They're going to be on your bench a lot anyway.
All right, let's make a move on. We have 10 minutes until the end of the stream. Okay, let's
Yeah. Oh,
go.
and the chap said Senesi. Let's put him in, and I think we
Okay,
got to put Semenyo in, don't we?
let's put in Senesi and Semenyo. I want to do a little bit on Semenyo in just a second. Do you want to speak to me about Senesi then?
Yeah, just like I mean, he only got 7 DefCon, I think, but Fulham didn't play with a forward, and that's the first time he's not reached it. So he's now 6 from 7. Easy pick. He's gone up loads in price. Palace as an entry point is not amazing. I think they concede to Palace. I actually am benching Senesi as things stand for game week 8, which is a bit meh. Oh, Xhaka's a great option, says Jay at 5 million. Yeah, Xhaka beats Longstaff for 0.1. So I think the chat have said, let's go Xhaka in, let's go Senesi in, and let's go Semenyo in.
That's assuming we're going with a third attacker then. If we have Xhaka and Semenyo, unless you're starting Xhaka every week, which I don't fancy personally. But just quickly on Semenyo, Gianni. No doubt he's been arguably the best player in the league alongside Erling Haaland. He looks absolutely ridiculous. I've seen him destroy my Lily Whites. He was phenomenal and even better in that last game versus Fulham. He
I
comes
mean,
in at a respectable price now at 8 million. Do you still think he's undervalued or is it a no-brainer?
it's a no-brainer. He is what last season we had this with Burmo playing for a kind of middling to good team, Brentford, Bournemouth, last year's Brentford, where you just go talisman in the team, no European football, and just a match winner. And the difference between Bournemouth and Fulham was that Bournemouth, they really even football match when you look at the XG plot, everything. But Bournemouth had match winners, and Kluivert's goal was world class, and Semenyo was just like a man possessed in that second half. So good.
Yeah, I think it's hard not to go with him, alright. So, okay, let's move on to the third forward spot then, considering we're going with
And
Granit
mate, you
Xhaka.
don't have to play Xhaka every week because the benefit of a wild card is you can get good DEFCON defenders who arguably are better than your 7th attacker. So at times you'll just play a 4-3-3. You know, you'll play a back four or a 4-4-2. Like, I think Xhaka, let's say Xhaka's a 7th attacker, not an 8th. The rotation between attacker 7 and 8 with defender 4 and 5 should be a thing. Like we can play back fours in this game. I think early season has shown us we should be playing a back four way more than we do.
British 87 says, this template is a small bit too template for me. Sorry, this team is a small bit too template for me. Alright, let's spice it up, Johnny. Do you think there must be a Crystal Palace defender? If it is, I want it to be Daniel Munoz. 16 DEFCON today.
Mate, I sold him on wildcard. I haven't had an attack in return, and then he goes and scores a goal. I'd absolutely put Munoz in. I'm already seething that I don't have him. I went Richards to save 1 million, and you always need money, right? And that was my downgrade. But mate, get Munoz in. He scored in the week. He should have scored game week 7. Allison worldy save, and then obviously, game week 6, game week 7. Obviously, he got the goal. So yeah, get Munoz in, mate. Forget Defcon for a minute. He's just he's a wide forward.
Samson is right up my alley. He says, where is Mohamed Kudus?
After today and what we've said early in the show, we have to put him in.
All right, let's stick him in. Let's get the 2 Ghanaians in. By the way, is that how you say someone from Ghana? Ghanaian?
Ghanaian, yeah.
So Mohamed Kudus makes his way into the 5th midfield spot. Nice little value tied up if I did go myself. So we have 11.8 million to choose a defender and a forward. So let's pick the defender first. That might pick the price point of the forward or vice versa. Where shall we go, Gianni?
I mean, we've got Palace Bournemouth covered. We don't want to go too premium. I mean, have we got the money to go and buy a Man City defender? Can Gvardiol work, or is that going to be too expensive? Probably not. I think we probably need to go 4.5, do we?
Yeah, so we have a 11.8 in the bank. So let's just say give or take 6 million on average for 2 assets, or bumping up to 8 and 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, whilst I feel like we have to pick the forward first.
All right, let's pick the forward first.
Are you thinking Waltermada? Am I looking at Waltermada going, you're going to try and get him in?
I don't think we can fit him in. He's 7.2. It'll only leave us with how much in the bank? 4.7 actually.
Yeah,
we can.
We can.
That's nice, and it's not so template. Chat, what do you make of that?
And Victor out for a few more weeks. You know.
Are we happy with Voldemade chat? Let us know. To be honest, I'm quite happy. But what can we do with that 4.7 if we do go with him?
Oh, I think we have to go. You could go boring and someone like an Anderson at 4.5 million, who's great for DefCon. You could go boring again and go for. You could go double Crystal Palace defense. I mean, I know they weren't great today, but they are a very good defense. I think. Can we get a Newcastle defender for that? I don't think we can we?
Let's take a look. Who's
Lewis
injured
Hall's
today,
been ruled
Gianni?
out for a while now. We're going to see Dan Burn left back. We're going to see Trippier right back, and we're going to see Malik Chow getting a lot of games. How much is Chow? Is he 4.9?
4.9 is indeed correct. But you
Damn.
might have better team value than me, but let's assume not because I have point 0.5 in Haaland. 4.7. What can we do? What can we do?
It's going to have to be Anderson at Fulham, is it?
I think Anderson is great, as boring as it is. I don't think many people have him, to be honest.
Let me just look. I can't remember who I wildcarded in last week. I can't. I'm thinking of my defence because I went for. Oh, yeah. I mean, I went Kilman. And Mavropoulos at West Ham got 20 DEFCON yesterday. You could go for a West Ham defender.
Yeah, I feel like you could go Diouf, you could go Anderson, you could go. Who else is nice at that price point?
Mate, Diouf's spicy. People have said we got to make this spicy. I mean, nothing spicier than 4 assist man Diouf, is there?
All right, let's go Diouf then. Why not? And he is a small bit cheaper. No, am I wrong?
They're all 4.4. They've all dropped to 4.4. Have you seen the West Ham fixtures, by the way? Bring them up if you can.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to think. Let me quickly stick Diouf in this team. By the way, we just have about 3 minutes left on the stream. I hope you guys are enjoying it. This is making for a fun stream, of course. Let me quickly bring up West Ham. Did you say West Ham's fixtures?
Yeah, that. I mean, forget West Ham. See them as Nuno's fixtures, and remember what Nuno did at Forest. And now he's got a couple of weeks on the training ground. Picture Nuno playing these teams, and I see a lot of very tight games and low-scoring games. I see clean sheets for Nuno here.
Yeah, I like that. So there's the draft rounded up for you guys. Before we quickly end the video or stream, Gianni, this is what I want to ask you. So let's choose 3 differentials each for wildcard in each position. Let's go defender, midfielder, and forward. I want you to start. You choose your defender first.
Yeah, I'm going to go West Ham, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go Kilman just because that's who I went with. He didn't do great on DefCon today, but I think he's going to be good, and he out DefCon Mavropoulos against Everton. So I'm going to go Kilman.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna go Destiny Adogi, who comes in at 4.4, I believe. Again, I feel like he is going to be the main man at left back for Spurs. I've really liked from the Italian man since he's come back from injury. He's getting quite advanced on the pitch, and playing with Otterber is a nice. It's a nice thing because Javi Simmons is playing in the centre and there's triangles happening, and Adogi often runs in to cross the ball into the 6-yard box. I just wonder, now that Spurs are a bit more solid at the back, if he can continue to get these games, is he solidified in the team? So let's move on to the midfield, Gianni.
I'm going to go Eze because if Odegaard's out and Eze is going to play central, that's his best position. And Arsenal have still got the fixtures. Eze should have scored yesterday. He missed a 0.75 chance.
Yeah, I love that. That's personally where I was going to go. I'm going to go Elliot Anderson at 5.4. I think on the wildcard teams, obviously Forest have been really poor, but if he can continue to get DEFCON in a poor team, you probably wouldn't expect much more. And anything else at that price point is a bonus. You do have other assets like Xhaka, who was 5 million less. But again, playing the fact that hopefully will play for a more attacking team in the future. Let's move on to the forwards, Gianni.
Strand Larson for me. I think he's got. Is it Burnley Sunderland up next? Wolves have got 2 really hot fixtures. I think he hit the post today, Strand Larson. He was subbed and was a bit annoyed that he got subbed. But new contract bounce, good fixtures, back fit. I'd punt on Strand Larson in,
Yeah, I love that from you. I would have went Strand Larson also.
Wow, really? Eze and Strand Larson, look at us.
But who I'm going to go instead is Jared Bowen. I don't even know if he's differential, but he's an obvious differential, if you know what I mean. If you get what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of people will talk about him, but a lot won't go there. But 6%. I feel like there's definitely a case for going for him, and that's just me personally.
Yeah, I like that, man. Like that. Mate, good luck. So next Sunday, we'll see your latest draft, yeah? I'm also on my channel, on my YouTube channel, going to do a wildcard draft tomorrow just for lols. So look out for that. I'm going to drop my early thoughts tonight. But yeah, mate, I look forward to chatting next week.
And my wildcard video with Haaland and Salah is out. Do check that out.
Oh, nice.
Released on stream. I had a schedule, of course. So, as usual, lads, we really appreciate you on this Sunday. I hope the audio was a small bit better. We do apologize for any inconsistencies in the previous streams. We hope to make them better for you, and we hope we done you justice this week by giving you a nice little wildcard special. Gianni, anything last you have to say before we finish up?
If you're looking for entertainment during the international break or get bored, there's going to be so much content on the Scout YouTube channel. Like all the streams will still be running, so almost daily content. So make sure you're liking and subscribing to Fantasy Football Scout.
Absolutely, and shout out to everyone in chat, Offcore, Nick, British87, and anyone who's been commenting on the stream. We'll wrap it up there, lads, and as usual, we will see you in the next.